So every slide, yeah, so we're going to talk about using HTML5 and JavaFX together, and Steve and I will duke it out, try to make suggestions on which technology you should be using, and then maybe talk about how we can use them together. But I think before we jump into that, Steve, we have the most important slide of the deck here, and why don't you go ahead and cover that. This one's on Steve's side. I don't have one of these.
Yeah, so the wonderful Oracle policy on legal disclaimers around forward-looking statements. Thanks for throwing this one on me, Kevin.
All right. So here we are. Steve, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
So that's me with my daughter, riding with me on my motorcycle. I'm a Java technology ambassador, talk about JavaFX technology, and also a user group leader with my co-lead here, Keith. Keith Combs.
There he is.
So we run the Silicon Valley JavaFX user group. Don't you run a user group, Kevin?
Yeah, so 3 of them for me. So I run the Silicon Valley Java user group, the JavaScript meetup, and also the Google developer group. So very busy with those, and author of Web 2.0 Fundamentals and VP of Engineering when I'm not fooling around with the community.
So your legal guys at Just Me don't give you legal slides to add for disclaimers?
Yeah. So I'm the head of HR also. It's one of the roles. So we have a lot of fun in the office anyway.
All right.
So I want to start to kind of kick things off and take us to how we got to where we are today, right? So we started with HTML back in 1991, a very long time ago. Kind of moving forward, things got a little bit interesting with the introduction of CSS and JavaScript in '96. But at that time, we're doing kind of using tables and things like that for layout. Eventually, in 2002 is where things really kind of started getting interesting, where we're using CSS correctly, building rich applications that look like, regular client applications, desktop apps.
Kind of like rich desktop apps.
Kind of, yeah. Then we moved into Ajax. So instead of having this entire page refresh all the time, you get that power of being able to do what Oracle often referred to as partial page refreshes. Then in 2009, which is really not that long ago, but we've come a huge way since then. 2009 was the introduction of HTML5, and that's really where things, it's almost as big of a change as what we had for Web 2.0 with Ajax and what that brought to the table. So why don't I talk a little bit about what HTML5 is? And these are all great features, Steve, so, we'll see if we have these in JavaFX. So anyway, what is HTML5? And let's start with what it is not. HTML5 is not HTML plus CSS plus JavaScript. What it is a next generation of modern features. And you go through those, you got a lot of great things you've never had ability to do in the web, and that's offline storage, having web SQL databases, IndexedDB, caches, web workers where you can do multiple threads, WebSockets, notifications, drag and drop is native part of HTML5, file system, geolocation, speech input, all kinds of great things, Canvas, audio and video support. So I think, Steve, you must be really jealous at this huge list of features that I'm showing you here.
Yeah, so this feature list is pretty impressive. I'm glad. When did you say HTML5 started? 2009?
2009, Steve.
Yeah, so I'm glad you finally got to about the level rich client technology was around 5-10 years ago.
Yes.
It's good you guys are catching up.
Well, we're catching up, but not only are we catching up, but I think we're surpassing. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. So I want to start talking a little bit about these HTML5 features and talk about why you shouldn't be afraid, right? So this is a demo from the HTML5rocks.com, and if you go to slides HTML5 Rocks, you can see it's a really great tutorial. I recommend it to everyone. It's, 50 slides, roughly, maybe 30 slides, and it goes through a one-page demo of all the different things that you can do in HTML5, and you can look at the code, and it runs live. And so I'm going to try to jump over to that and give kind of a quick, whoops, I should cue this up here. There we are. So this is a fun example, and what you see at the bottom, or this is an example of using CSS3 things for doing things like rounded corners. And what you see in this picture is, we can all tell, it's sort of a picture of a cat, right? And if you were to open this...
We need to correct that. So who knows the proper name of the Chinese anime?
I think we should ask Keith.
No, we have someone over here. Who? Oh, I think you said it with a proper Chinese enunciation too, right? Japanese enunciation.
Yeah.
So yeah, this little guy is I think in the U.S. they call him Doraemon.
Doraemon.
That's probably
Very
a really
good.
bad pronunciation of the original Japanese name, but okay. So not just a cat, not just any cat.
Not just any cat. This is a very special cat, and I'll show you why he's special, because he kind of like becomes round and square, kind of old school to modern. So some of the things, and I play with this with my son a lot. He kind of likes it. So you see here, by adjusting the CSS, I can pull in the body, pull in the left eye, and kind of make him wink at you. It's kind of fun. Do the right eye. And it's just on the fly modifying the CSS there. We get all the things, and eventually make them smile, about like that. That's kind of fun. And what are we doing here? The nose, make him bigger, right? The new Duke has a much bigger nose, if any of you have noticed. He's thinner, and he's got a bigger nose. So there we are. One eye is like, we can kind of make him wink, and pull the other one, and that's kind of really what you want. You want the rounded corners, you want things to look very nice, but don't be afraid to use it today. You get a graceful degradation. If you were to open this up in IE6, you'd get sort of a look here. We're hoping for the network. You guys all turn your Blackberries off, right? There we are, and that's what it would look like. So.
All right, let me repeat the snarky comment in the front. The question was, do we have to pay royalties to Apple to use that picture, Kevin?
Steve, we're stuck on your motorcycle here. What did I do?
Yeah, that's the bug I was talking about, Kevin.
Oh my God, this is going to be an interesting.
We love.
I'm gonna let Steve. Oh, here we go.
All right, there we go.
He's acting like he did something. He didn't. I fixed it before he got here. Hang on. Hold on. Here we go. All right. Presenter view. We are presenters. Oh my God, this is not looking good. All right, congratulations. You know, I should have just went. I'm going back to the browser, but I really should have stayed over there. But so the next thing I want to talk about is Canvas. So Canvas is really great. Gives you a lot of features like WebGL, which lets you do 3D animation. And I'm guessing Steve will be a bit jealous when he sees this demo, although he's seen it before. But I do think watching the fish come at the screen, and it shows the power of what can be done in the browser. Native browser, kind of looking at this demo, and I think it's really impressive. So, you don't need necessarily to go to a Flash or something like that you've done in the past. And this is all made possible with WebGL, which is basically a port of OpenGL into the browser. Lighter weight, you can see the fish, they do really great. There's a whole lot of really cool demos. I'm nowhere near smart enough to write something like this. But this is really exciting for me, and I hope you guys kind of enjoy that. So Steve, can I do that in JavaFX?
Yeah, okay, that's a good question. So I think you are slightly ahead of what we're doing in JavaFX today. So what you can currently do with JavaFX 2 is what we like to optimistically call 2.5D. You can take all of your scene graph objects and rotate them, use perspective cameras in the third dimension, which doesn't quite give you the full capabilities of bringing in modeled and rendered objects. But if you remember the keynote demo, they showed the loading ship and cargo with the Navis docs as a demonstration. And that's actually similar to this is what the next generation of JavaFX is looking towards. So
what you're saying is you recommend folks use HTML5?
Thanks for putting words in my mouth, Kevin.
Yeah, anytime, Steve. So the next thing I want to talk about is one of these really confusing features. And we'll ask Steve if they have any great prefixes later. But anyway, so you've got all these great prefixes. I got WebKit ones, there's IE ones, there's all kinds of prefixes that sit in front of things like the CSS3 transformations. And you're wondering, what in the world is this? Why do I need, I've gone to this standard spec of HTML5, why do I need all these? So I'll start with a little background, right? So a few years ago, probably back in 2009, 2010, I went to lunch with Ian Hicksey, right, the creator of HTML5, and I said, what's the main goal of HTML5? There's a lot of new features, there's a lot of things going on here. You know, what were you really setting to go out and do? And what his answer was that he wanted a fully defined spec. He wanted, when you added a tag, it does exactly what it says it's going to do. When you did JavaScript and you did unusual things that you weren't necessarily supposed to do, it should be fully specified exactly what should be happening, exactly what the behavior is. A simple example would be, you know, with arrays, what happens with a trailing comma, right? What is the length? Is it one more? Is it one less? Is it undefined at the end? Things like that. And so really what he's setting out to do is to take things like Dojo, things like jQuery, things like YUI, and a lot of what their goal was IE did one misimplementation, Firefox did another misimplementation, Chrome had a misimplementation, and everybody's browsers on the same code behaved a little bit differently. So you had things like jQuery, really great thing, that would let you write your code once and it would perform consistently across all browsers. Kind of sounds like a VM or something, right, Steve?
So you mean that HTML and JavaScript don't behave the same everywhere?
Well, they sure don't behave the same back in IE6, I can tell you that, or 7 or 8. And unfortunately,
how about
even IE9. So folks love IE10, but even IE8, you get these many problems. So prefixes cause a lot of confusion, and what they are is this ability for you to test out their implementation today, and you code to this, you can almost consider this to be a draft version of their implementation, and then those prefixes will disappear, and this will just say text fill color or column count, rather than WebKit's attempt at that. And it also means that in many cases the spec is in draft form, but we don't want to make you wait. We want to make it available to you immediately, and so that's what prefixes are all about. So Steve, do I get to have fun with prefixes in JavaFX?
Well, I mean, we do have this ubiquitous runtime called the Java Virtual Machine, and
you know, I'm going to
Java code actually on different platforms works exactly the same. So you can write it on Mac, you can write it on Windows, and you can even write it on Linux, and you get the same behavior.
Very good. Very good. I'm going to keep bouncing it over to Steve and see if we catch him sleeping over there. All right. So cross browsers, like I talked about, jQuery, YUI, all these things really help and make it a non-ambiguous spec, right? Or, you know, HTML5 is making a non-ambiguous spec. And I want to show you a little demo here with the acid test. So I don't know if any of you have heard about the acid test, but it's really a test of browsers to look at how well they implement the spec, right? And so this is all for HTML4 stuff, acid test 3. And you can see there are older versions. This is a screenshot I found on the web, but you can see 20 out of 100 test passed, in Firefox 72 out of 100, Safari 100, Chrome 100, and Opera, who was always considered to be the big leader in HTML5 and standardization, back there with an 85. So I'm going to jump over and show that to you guys. What's that? Oh, there we are. Steve is full of good ideas. All right. So here's the ACID 3 test. I'm going to refresh it. You can watch the count go up, and we have 100% success.
Nice. So that means that you actually have a browser which follows the HTML standard.
One more time.
So the fact that you have it, why do you even have one of those tests,
So when you do that
Kevin?
a year ago and you refresh, even in Chrome, you only get 99%. But anyway, I think it's really great. So you should try out things like your BlackBerry and watch it get like a 10. So let's hope it starts from this slide. I think it will, if it even comes up. Here we go. So jQuery. If you haven't tried jQuery, it's a really great thing. You know, I think if we're going 100% HTML5, I think you can code without things like jQuery. But that's definitely not possible, right? There's a lot of old things that you need to support, even new stuff, some of the iterators and things, some of the stuff that they do with selectors make things a lot easier. But here's a chart that shows this just massive massive adoption of jQuery. So this shows 56% of top 10,000 websites actually use jQuery today. So this is really exciting.
Even James Gosling loves jQuery.
Even James Gosling loves jQuery. Although he doesn't think you could build a Swing app in Canvas. I don't know. He was definitely pushing the Swing. Keep it alive. I thought that was kind of interesting.
He's not here to defend himself. Let him off.
All right. But anyway, so if you haven't tried jQuery, it's a great tool. You should take a look at it. jQuery UI, jQuery mobile, very good things. So here I want to give kind of an example of jQuery, and I'll jump back out into a demo. So those of you who haven't seen JS Fiddle before, it's a really great tool that lets you kind of take some piece of code up here. So my name is, always Kevin. And I push run. I apply some JavaScript to it. I apply some CSS, which I've actually done here in JavaScript with jQuery. And I run it, and my name is now always Kevin Nilsson, right?
Hey, Kevin, why is my name in pink?
Well, that was your favorite color, right? You joined Oracle, or Team Red, Team Pink, whatever. It's Steve's favorite color. He always has different interpretations of things, but we'll walk through the example here. You've got some regular HTML. We're looking for dot, right? So does anybody know what the dot is? That stands for class. So which CSS class? So you want to style as Steve, and you want to take the background color and set it to Steve's favorite background color, which is pink. That's why he wears a blue bike outfit, I think. But then after that, we're going to do something a little bit more advanced. So this is called chaining, right? So, in Java, we've got all this kind of getter and setter nonsense that, when you call setters, it's a void function. But here in JavaScript, the functions, in jQuery, you're able to do chaining because they return the results.
Wait, is this kind of like JavaFX builders?
It very much is, Steve.
Okay, I get it.
Very much is, yeah. So here in this example, we look at the thing styled with the class Kevin and set the background to be yellow. Grab its parent, which is the entire sentence, my name is always Kevin. And where are we at here? We're going to make it blue. And then do an end, which is kind of like a pop off the stack, right? Because you're basically querying the result that you already have, and end gives you the ability to pop. Then you set the italic font, which only goes to Kevin, because that was the last selector, and then we make the font be red. So it's kind of a nice thing where in a single line you can knock out all that styling. If you were doing this in like a traditional Swing thing, it would, I don't know that you would ever fit that on one slide. So it's a really cool demo. You can make the changes, and I think for Steve, we'll bump him up to red here, and there we go.
All right, my boss would be happy now.
There we go.
Yeah.
I got the wrong CSS.
Wait, no. That is not quite the right marketing shade of red for Oracle.
I got the wrong font. So.
We'll get the marketing people to give us the right code.
Yeah, and it's not Steve that's presenting with me. It's Oracle that's presenting with me. So there we go. All right, back to the slides. Back to the fun. All right. So we talked about all these older browsers, right? And we talked about, oh gosh, how difficult it is to make things work correctly in all of them. And so I want to introduce something called Chrome Frame. So what Chrome Frame is it allows you to take IE and run Chrome inside of IE. So the user never knows. It runs as an ActiveX control, and it's kind of full screen inside of it. And your user thinks he's running IE, but he's actually using Chrome. You can use all the, your grandmother on her IE6, like old Windows 2000 machine, whatever she has back there. You don't have to be afraid to use HTML5, right? So you add one simple tag at the top of your page, and you can have Chrome Frame. You can have the choice of saying, if it's there, let's use it, which is what I do. I say a lot of times for like IE8, I'll say, if it's there, go ahead and use it. If it's not, I don't want to prompt. But if you're using IE6, like my site, there's no way in hell it's even going to come close to working. So I go ahead and prompt the dialog and say, would you like to install this? If they say no, then we send them, I don't know, we send them to read, I don't know, Steve on Java or something. So, yeah. Another thing I want to talk about is a tool called Modernizer. Many of you know Paul Irish. He's kind of a famous guy on the jQuery team, a lot of fun, and he's one of the guys on Modernizer. And really what it is it's looking at feature detection rather than looking at user agents, right? And so this is really a lot of the future of how we determine what features your browser has available rather than trying to sniff a header, parse it up, and determine what things are. So I talked about jQuery a lot, but there's another tool out there called Bootstrap from Twitter that you guys should look at. It was, you see, this is GitHub most popular watched repositories, and this is an older picture here. But you've heard of Node, you've heard of Rails, you've heard of jQuery. Well, Bootstrap has more people watching it than any of those, and it's really exciting. It's very much around CSS and responsive design, which I'm going to show you next. One of the things that it does, and it's a really great tool. A lot of their ideas is about making all this possible without any JavaScript. So it's a really great tool. You should check it out and kind of look toward the future with Bootstrap. I think there's a lot of exciting things coming there. So here I want to show kind of a quick demo of responsive UI, and I think. I always thought that this was Steve on this website, but I'm not sure. I'll let him answer that. And I have no idea what this website means or does. It's in a language that I don't understand. I think it's French, but somebody can tell me afterwards what this is all about. But what you see is, you see this sort of menuing up here, something about the Earth, and then as I resize the browser, boom, you get something completely different. So it's the same code base. Depending on how wide things are. So if you look at what is it going to look like on an iPhone or a Linux mobile device, this is what you're going to see. What is it going to look like in a browser?
Thanks for doing me a favor there, Kevin.
Yes. I don't want to get us in trouble, Steve. And or if and you can go out wider and make a whole different view for a Retina display or widescreen. So it's kind of fun. But the coolest thing about this website is the guest appearance from Steve here. Oh, he switched the keys on me. He did switch the keys on me. I don't know. I was going to zoom in for you. You guys will have to do that on your own. So responsive design is definitely kind of the wave of the future for what we have there. So the next thing I want to talk about is blending multiple technologies together, kind of using the best of each. And one of the techniques, this is an iPhone app I did a really long time ago. And it was basically a location-based chat thing. And it was designed for things like conferences where we could do a chat and chat with those within 100 yards of us. So it'd be just within those here or within the building. I have no idea if this is running anymore, and it was a free app, so it was a lot of fun. But I doubt you can find it if you go and look. But what's interesting about it is there's a few things. One is we had a lot of styling of text that we wanted to do here. And we wanted to make links, hyperlinks, and red, and all these things, and underlines, and bolding of who said things. And for things like iPhone, the best way to do that is with the UI web view. And so that's what we kind of did here. The other thing I wanted to do was take a lot of the knowledge I had in Comet and WebSockets and make that available for push. And so that's what I did kind of here was I actually implemented the chat within JavaScript. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, so you can actually mix web technologies with native. I think we might be able to use that.
Yeah. So this idea has been around a really long time, taking the best of the web, getting it in the iPhone, get it in the App Store, using mixing, matching, a little bit of the Objective-C, a little bit of HTML5, and it really kind of pulls things together to do that. So before we kind of change gears, I want to just close with how exciting it is to see this green line finally cross the blue line, right? So I don't know if any of you are aware, but HTML5 is here and alive today. Chrome is the green line. Blue is the Internet Explorer. So the Internet Explorer is now got less usage than what Chrome does. So you take Chrome's usage, put it together with all your Android, all your iPhone, everybody who's using WebKit, and I think WebKit is really the key to the whole success there of having this one implementation that's shared by all the browsers that really implements things well and looks great. So I'm really excited about seeing Chrome kind of make it possible for us all to be out there using HTML5 today.
So how many Chrome users are there out here? Clap your hands.
Yeah. Safari. Any Safari users? Oh, a couple. They don't like to clap, though. That's okay. Anybody still using Firefox? I like Firefox. Yeah, there we go. Those guys like to clap. Very good. And any IE use? No, don't clap. Do not
raise your hand.
Anyone know.
We don't want to get anyone heard in this session.
Yeah. That's a bad idea. That's one of those things you don't talk about. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to pass things off to Steve, and hopefully we can have some fun with Steve.
All right, so Kevin was talking about WebKit and technologies that use WebKit on mobile and desktop. And actually, what I'm going to talk about, JavaFX 2.0, happens to be another platform which leverages WebKit. We actually have a WebView component, which is based on the open source WebKit libraries. In addition to that, you also have all of the media, graphics, charting, controls, all the things which you've come to expect from Java client technologies. And you also get very fast performance running on the JVM and hardware acceleration from your graphics card. So all of your 2D and 3D graphics are fully accelerated. And now that JavaFX 2 is based on all Java APIs, you can use any of your favorite IDEs. What's your favorite IDE, Kevin?
I like them all, Steve. So so on a daily basis, I use Eclipse. I use a version of it called STS. I'll let you guys all guess what that is. But it's a really nice version of Eclipse, and that's what I like to do my daily development in. But sometimes I write a whole lot of JavaScript, and when I do, the code completion is okay, but the formatting is really, really bad. So then I open it up in NetBeans so that I can format my code, which is kind of funny. It doesn't happen very often. Usually,
So are you saying you use a Java IDE to develop JavaScript?
Yes, I do. Yes, okay. I do. And then actually, when I'm really stumped and picking up something that I haven't done in a long time, I actually use IntelliJ because the autocomplete stuff is a whole lot nicer. But definitely, I'm an Eclipse user. That's what I really like. Formatting is really great in NetBeans, and autocomplete, IntelliSense is what they call it, is best in IntelliJ. So I don't know what to tell you guys, but I hope you have a lot of memory on your laptop because, yeah.
Yeah, so I use a bunch of IDEs as well, although the IDE I'll be showing you guys today is NetBeans. You can code JavaFX in Eclipse, IntelliJ, JDeveloper, your IDE of choice. And writing a JavaFX application to display web content is this easy. This is a full JavaFX application that creates a stage. A stage is a window, adds a scene to it, and then populates it with a web view off of a website. So
Steve, this doesn't look like the JavaFX that I remember from 2 years ago.
No, you're right.
This looks very comfortable to me as a guy who's done a lot of swing. So.
Yeah, so there used to be a custom scripting language, and that was a requirement to develop JavaFX, but now it's all pure Java code. So you can use your existing IDEs and technologies with your JavaFX code.
We even have that great setter in there, so I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. He's trying to...
NetBeans, come on.
Show this picture there.
Not responding.
Oh, my God.
All right, so sometimes when your IDE doesn't agree with you, you restart it.
All right.
And then it's all better.
Maybe we should.
That ever happened to you with with Eclipse?
Oh, all the time, all the time. They're all the same. That's why I have 3 of them going at once, Steve. and there's a 4th one that comes into the mix is when I really get stuck with that JavaScript and I go over and ask the really smart JavaScript developers, they pull it up in VI. So, yeah.
I've actually never had VI crash on me.
Yeah, and I'm envious because they're so happy and they're smiling, and I don't get it, but it is what it is,
Okay, so here's the same code running in NetBeans, And let's kick off this project as a little test and show you guys what you can do with a single file. That's a feature. The JavaFX guys are laughing because we all hate it, but that's a feature. All right, and now it's using the very fast internet connection here at the
look at that.
At the Hilton to
see some familiar faces at the top.
Yeah, we know a few. We know Martin and some other people I should know. Here's
yeah. So here's he's got a lot to learn before next year.
Yeah. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah.
So, and it's a full WebKit browser, so you can navigate links and traverse around and display full web content within the context of a JavaFX application. So let me talk quickly about some of the APIs which make this all possible to integrate with your JavaFX app. That's the backup slide, just in case.
Just in case the network is not so happy. And just to remind you guys, this is Steve showing you how you can use the great power of HTML5 within your JavaFX application. So.
Yeah, thanks for explaining that, Kevin. Yeah. So you can also call JavaScript from your Java code. Simply, this creates an alert and then calls engine.execute script. And you can execute any arbitrary JavaScript code you want from within the context of your JavaFX application to, I'll show an example of this, but script different behavior on the page using JavaScript. You can also call back the other direction.
So how many of you have used Live Connect in the past? Right, it's an old thing that would let you kind of from JavaScript call into applets. A lot of the same kind of idea where you get these two technologies talking to each other, but we're all used to that applet. This is sort of reverse with the Java on the outside and the HTML.
Yeah. So the Live Connect guys will appreciate the next slide. But this is a streamlined API for calling back into Java. So a quick example of a JavaFX application which exposes the exit method of JavaFX. Calls in and then gets the window object and sets an app member on the application. And because JavaScript's untyped, you can now call any methods on your Java objects you've injected. So we've injected app, and in our page, we can create a little button here or a link which is going to exit the application. So you can do this bi-directional communication between your JavaFX and your JavaScript code. And here's an example of some of the type conversions that are involved.
It's possible because of the nice dynamic language that you have with JavaScript. So,
at the expense of, yes. So most of these are fairly straightforward. JavaScript has some types which don't exist in Java, like undefined. And also, anyone who's used the Live Connect API should recognize a little netscape.javascript.js object reference here for the wrapper object returned to let you get access to the DOM.
I do have a puzzler question for folks. Would the string undefined be equal to undefined in JavaScript? Does anybody know? I honestly do not know the answer. But I'm looking at this slide wondering if those are equivalent in JavaScript. So I know that one and the string one are equivalent.
There are some really good JavaScript puzzlers.
Yes, there are. Yes, there are. So
you could write. I think you could write like a encyclopedia. I mean, Josh Block has a book of Java puzzlers, but you could write an encyclopedia of JavaScript.
Yes.
All right. So also, if you think about what JavaFX is acting as, it's acting as a browser to the content. So you get callbacks for anytime someone does an alert or confirm or prompt in the JavaScript code, resizes the window, tries to pop status, visibility, or do a pop-up. All of these things will message back your JavaFX application, and you can choose what action you'd like to take. For example, for pop-up, you might just not implement it because you don't really like pop-ups. Does anyone like pop-ups? Yeah, no, you probably really leave that unimplemented. But it's helpful to be able to respond to all these events as an application whenever your JavaScript code notifies you of changes. So I think we need to show an example of.
I think that's a great idea, Steve.
Of some of this. So we have the first use case. I have two different use cases I'm going to share with you guys. One is how can we take these technologies, kind of leverage the best of the web and the best of JavaFX, and not write a lot of code.
And everyone's favorite application is the Google Maps, except for the iPhone 5 users. Somehow that seemed like a bad idea, but I would love to have Google Maps inside of my JavaFX applications.
Yeah, so let's see if we can make that happen,
Yeah,
Kevin.
let's do it, Steve.
All right, so here's a simple JavaFX application. It's only 100 lines of code. I'm not going to go through it in detail, but it will be on my blog. So you can see we're creating a scene here, setting the title to Java Conference Tour and setting the width and height and showing it. Calling down to the create map method, which populates a few things. And one of the ones here, create web view. So the entire create web view method is 5 lines with the return. And it creates the web view, points it to our local HTML content. We're actually publishing an HTML file with the app. And also puts a nice little JavaFX reflection effect on it.
That would have been 4 lines in JavaScript, Steve, because the returns are optional.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah.
And then we're also populating a bunch of conferences with latitude, longitude, and probably the most important part here is we have a navigate method which is going to call execute script and invoke the move map method in our JavaScript code, which is shown here. This is just straight up Google Maps APIs.
And I wrote the move map.
Yeah. This is Kevin's handiwork. Did you do this in Eclipse or NetBeans?
I think I did on your computer, Steve. So it was probably JDevelop.
Yeah. Okay. So he knows what the chances of that are, but we won't talk about that on stage. All right. So let's give this whole app a try. All right. Java Conference Tour.
All right. So say a prayer for the demo gods. Hasn't failed us yet. Woo! Look at that.
Not yet.
Here comes the map. The best part.
All right. So there we've got Java 1 conference. You click on this area, and it goes down to different conferences. So.
And that on the left is JavaFX.
Yeah, the left side here is a JavaFX control. As we go through the accordion pane, we're flipping. On the right here is a full-featured Google Maps.
Zoom into the center line.
Yeah. Okay. So we're somewhere around here, right? And we can switch to satellite view. And you can even see the reflection effect on the bottom. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, there we are.
Pretty good mix of technologies? All right, I've got one other technology demo I want to share with you guys because, HTML is good for delivering contents in the web browser. But sometimes, they have this new Apple App Store, Windows Market. You might actually want to get those apps on the desktop, which it's really easy to do with JavaFX. We have native packaging support. It creates EXEs and DMG files and RPMs for Linux. But how do you get your web app on the desktop? Yeah. All right, so
you're saying I don't have to use WebStart anymore if I don't want to, Steve?
Yeah, I would rather you not use WebStart.
Very good.
Yeah,
Very
actually.
good. Oh, my.
All right, so this is another small example, and this is actually running embedded Glassfish. So Glassfish has an embedded version with cool APIs. You can launch it directly. Glassfish is packaged up with the application, kicks up a little server. We're loading a URL in a web view here. So pointing to the local instance we've kicked up, loading a URL, and I'm running the Vaadin mobile mail demo. You guys familiar with Vaadin? So GWT-based Java EE framework, pretty cool for demos. Those guys know their UI stuff. So let's see if we can get this running as an application here. And this is bleeding edge stuff. So this is where you start praying, Kevin.
Yeah, I didn't write any of this. I don't have to pray.
This is where you start getting your mocking ready.
Yes.
Your knocks at me. So you can actually see we're starting Glassfish in the same process, loading JavaFX, and we have, there we go, inbox. So looks kind of like a desktop app. It's actually running in a desktop window.
Very nice. Very nice.
Oh, and I have one more thing to show you guys. I didn't want to be one-upped by Kevin. He put all this responsive UI stuff in the talk, and you can also do responsive UIs in Java EE.
There we go.
So let's resize the window here. And if you get it to a phone form factor,
look at that. Very impressive.
All right, what do you guys think?
Very nice. Very nice. So a little background on Vaadin while Steve is working here. It's based on the GWT, the Google Web Toolkit. It lets you write Java, and basically you're writing Java, which generates JavaScript. So basically you're passing your domain objects or your model objects across the wire. You're writing Java for the browser side and writing it for the server side. It's all very nice HTML5. Web 2.0.
You know, Jonas would be proud of you for that little
yes,
pitch, Kevin. Good job.
I like it. So I was a GWT fan for a while, and it feels very much like Swing, which feels very much.
Kevin,
like
you're
JavaFX.
the HTML guy.
All right,
okay. All right. So, did you have a few events you wanted to talk about?
Yeah. So, if you're sticking around through the weekend, I highly recommend Silicon Valley Code Camp. So, I'm one of the organizers of that conference, and it's going to be very big. Last year we had 2,200 people. It's a free conference. It's not too late to sign up. It's right in the middle of Silicon Valley down at Foothill College, October 6th and 7th. And I know Steve will be presenting. There's a whole slew of Oracle people. We've got, I think it was like 230 sessions. So I made the schedule for that and the badges. And it's a whole lot of fun. And it's a lot of the sessions that you've seen here that you missed because there's 30 sessions going on at once. We've got 25 going on there.
Yeah, and it's all community run, which is nice. I'm a big community fan.
Yep.
People putting up things, running it, and doing it for free. So that's awesome.
And then the next event is the Dev Fest from the Google Developer Group. So I run the Silicon Valley Google Developer Group. We're having a conference for 400 people down at Google headquarters in Mountain View. So if you're in the area, you should check that out. And the Java user groups that Steve and I run were done so well. Google really liked that model. They came and asked Van Riper and I if we would start a program around that. And now there's 250, 300, maybe 300 groups around the world. So it's a great success.
Cool. And the one quick announcement.
Kind of, not as exciting, Steve.
Okay.
You should,
Thanks for the lead-in, Kevin. Yeah. So I talked about this briefly at the keynote, but I'm going to be touring. This is actually my tour map. You can see the full route on nighthacking.com. And I'm going to be cruising around Europe between October 29th and November 11th, actually live streaming everything from my little camera rig, so you can watch it live on Ustream, and we'll be interacting with the audience. So I'll be sitting with some of these folks, hacking, working on JavaFX, Java EE, HTML technologies.
And Steve does know all these folks.
And we'll be having a good time. So join us at nighthacking.com, and thank you guys for coming.
Yeah, thanks a lot.